There is an insane amount of resources on Bjarnheim, and in this video I will show you where to find them. Hello Dodo crew, welcome back to another video on ARK Ascended. Grab a bottle of water and let's get straight into it. Bjarnheim is probably the toughest map when it comes to farming element. But don't worry, with a few tricks, Dunir is actually quite easy to kill. You can start the boss fight from any runestone on the map. Here are a few locations of runestones you can use to start the fight. As long as you bring good saddles, it doesn't really matter whether you use Ferricinus, Rexes or even Mammoth and Direbears. The only thing that really matters is that you take extremely good saddles with you. If you're using fairies or other herbivores, it's best to pack a few sweet veggie cakes, because Dunir's Thunderstorm ability deals a massive amount of damage and the cakes will heal that right back. The boss fight wouldn't really be worth it for the element alone, but on top of the element you'll also get 5 loot drops on every difficulty, which are really extremely powerful, so the fight is definitively worth it after all. On Gamma you'll get only 24 element, on Beta 68 and on Alpha you'll get at least 178 element. That really isn't much, but in return you have beaten one of the toughest bosses in the game. Generally speaking, it's fair to say that this map is still fairly new. Nekatus is constantly tweaking it and making changes almost every day. This means that over time the map can and will change significantly, which means that new resources may be added or locations may change. You can only farm Silica Pearls in the ocean in the north of the map. Along the snowy coast, which you should be able to see now, you will repeatedly find clusters of Silica Pearls in the water between the gorges. You cannot farm the large pearls on the wall. All these spots look similar to those on maps such as the island or the center, where these small pearls are found in the seabed. Between these gorges, you will not only find large quantities of pearls that you can farm with an angler, but you'll also find smaller quantities of oil, crystal and metal. In addition, there's an extremely good spot at 4.4 and 93.7 in the North Abyss, quite deep underwater in this small crystal cave. They are hard to spot but easy to farm. There's large quantities of Silica Pearls that you can easily farm if you have an angler. In this cave, you will not only find huge quantities of Silica Pearls, but also quite a bit of crystal, and at the same time, it's relatively safe in this area. First though, you should head into the Abyss and tame one of the high-level angler fishes. Once we're in the North Abyss, you've got 3 options straight away for getting hold of black pearls. The most annoying method is Europterids. We all hate them, but they only spawn in the Abyss and actually drop quite a decent amount of black pearls there. In this area, you'll also find large numbers of Tusos, which drop black pearls if you kill them as well. Tusos aren't a bad option, because they also drop a lot of keratin when you harvest them, and keratin is another key resource on this map. And the best method is to visit these small pearl spots in the deep sea at these locations. You can't harvest them with an angler, but if you travel a Grand Tortuga from another map, you can farm a large quantity of black pearls with just one hit. Overall, this spot in the Abyss is the best spot on any map. You will find loads of black pearls to farm here. Unfortunately, there are also plenty of really dangerous creatures, but most of them drop black pearls too. Or you can simply tame a few Tusos straight away, so you can actually count that as a win, I guess. Are you tired of playing alone on a dead server? Sick of lag, wipes and admins who never show up? Then it's time to join TBS, one of the biggest no-wipe servers, on which I'm actually playing and I'm making a video on. On top of that, on their PvP and PvE servers, they have all maps available cross-platform, custom caves that are truly outstanding, auto-lootable raid bases and even full 48-hour offline raid protection during the week. Not only that, but on weekends it switches to a 3x orb, which offers the possibility for offline raids, more action and so much more. A maximum of 4 players per tribe is allowed and there are cash prizes for the best tribes. Your starter kits and a bunch of other things are designed to help new players get started on these servers. And if you don't feel like defending your base at 3 AM in the morning, there are a bunch of other things that make it possible for players with jobs or normal lives to play. On top of that, if PvP isn't your thing, why not join one of their PvE servers? Use the code Frodo in the TBS store to get 10% off on your purchase. Join TBS ARK and I'll see you on the cluster. You'll find metal scattered all over the map, in the mountains and in various caves. Nothing new there, but the really large deposits lie deep down in the geyser tunnels that form part of the abyss. In other words, a long way underwater. Now, here's the catch. No Duncleo spawns anywhere on this entire map. That means we can't just swim off and rely on one, so we need a different strategy. First, we will tame 2 Ankylosauruses. The Ankies are our tools. They farm the metal far more efficiently than we could by hand. Next, we will need a Carcinos. You will only find these down in the bottom of the abyss. There are 2 options now. Place a vacuum chamber on the ground, trank the Carcinos with a cannon, and tame it. Alternatively, you can also find a baby, eliminate the parents, and claim the younglings. Once you've gotten the Carcinos, take your 2 Ankies with you, and dive down into the abyss to the geyser tunnels, and farm your metal there. If you have the option, simply travel a Duncleo over from another map. This saves you a lot of hassle. We touched on Chitin and Keratin briefly earlier. It's just really hard to farm on Bjarnheim. You can always kill Carcinos and Tusos, but they spawn deep underwater. So you need to be well prepared before you head down there. Alternatively, you can head over to the other side into the Deadlands. There are quite a lot of mantises that spawn there, which you can farm with a chainsaw for chitin and some organic polymer. It's a fairly classic strategy, familiar from maps like Scorched Earth. Then there are a few caves where large numbers of insect spawns. That means you can grab a Megatherium and kill the insects quite easily. And you can take the chitin with you straight away. Fortunately, you can also farm paste directly from beaver dams. Bjarnheim has quite a lot of beaver dams, much like Astraeus does. This means that if you know the locations, you can get a lot of paste quite quickly. You will find a large number of beavers and their dams, especially in the shallow lake at 56 and 80. Even on fairly low settings, you'll get 500 to 600 paste per dam. The dams spawn all over the lake here, but some aren't that easy to spot. There are 2 different types of dams. The small ones, which we're already familiar from other maps, and slightly larger ones, similar to those found on Ragnarok or Valguero. In my experience, you will find most of the dams in the shallow water at the northern tip of the lake. The larger type contains slightly more paste than the smaller ones, but that doesn't really matter, you'll want to farm them all anyway. There are actually 2 ways to obtain organic polymer. Unlike on newer maps, there are no polymer plants. On Bjarnheim, you can only get polymer by crafting it or by farming the huge numbers of penguins in the glacier lands. Alternatively, you can go to the mantises in the Deadlands and farm polymer there. You need congealed gas for many recipes, and it's only possible to farm in the geyser tunnels, which is quite a hard process. Here, you need to head into the abyss and in the regions where we've already been farming metal. Set up the gas collectors and then keep farming them repeatedly to get the gas balls. The gas veins are a bit tricky to spot in some places, but there are plenty where you can set them up. You can find all actually in a few different places on Bjarnheim. The first are the gentle whales. These huge whales, which you can find in the shallow waters in the northern part of the map, can be killed and you will get oil as it drops straight away. Then there are the dead whales, which can be found along the coast on what's known as the Coast of Remainings. You'll get good oil from them too, and they're usually easier to reach than the living whales. In addition, they also give hide and spoiled meat. The third option is the oil rocks on mountains or underwater. You'll need to be well prepared, of course, but they are pretty worth farming if you need a lot of oil. By the way, I'm at around 10k subs. My goal is to hit 20k subs by the end of the year. So if you enjoy these guides, hitting subscribe would really help. As you can find magma source, You'll need Ambergris. You can only find this in the depths of the geyser tunnels on the edge of the abyss. There are extremely luminous rocks that you can easily farm. Even though they're quite deep in the ocean, each one drops a good amount of ambergris straight away. Honey only spawns with bees, so you will need to tame a bee. You'll mainly find bees in the ironbark forest, where they spawn on trees. There you can easily tame them and then harvest honey regularly. In the ironbark forest, you'll also find redwood trees. To get sap, you will need to craft tree taps, which collect sap slowly. For hide, there's only one really good method, and that's ovices, and you can actually tame them in large parts of the map, such as the rustlands. Honestly, you'll find crystal all over the map. The crystals are either green, blue, red, or those slightly purple ones that you can find on all mountains. You will always get rare mushrooms whenever you farm crystals too. I haven't actually found any spawns for rare flowers, so I reckon you can currently only get rare flowers from beaver dams. You'll find large quantities of obsidian in the obsidian cave. Here, you will not only find obsidian, but also plenty of aberration and Genesis 1 creatures to tame. In this video, I've included links showing where all the creatures spawn. All gems can be found in the abyss. Green and red ones were added later, but you can actually find blue ones just about anywhere. If I missed anything, please write me a comment, and I will pin a comment on top where I add all the missing information. I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo.